Hey, good day. I'm Marty Walzer, also known as the Raging Owlbear on social media, and I'm not going to talk about tabletop RPGs today. I thought I could use a little bit of a palate cleanser. It's been a bit of a challenging week for many people out there, um, so be safe and self care, that all that. But because of that, I thought I'd do something fun and different. So today we're going to talk about Pepsi Milk versus egg cream, the classic soda fountain battle, if you will. Some of you people are probably thinking, like, Pepsi Milk? What? Egg cream? What the hell is this? Sorry, what the heck is this? This is a family show. Um, but I'm going to talk a little bit about those things because some of you may have never tried these two concoctions, and so I'm going to be your sacrificial lamb. For those of you who are a little bit younger, I'm of a certain age. I turned 50 in 2020 already. Actually, I've turned 50 in 2020. So when I was younger, there were still some, let's say, things that were popular during the 50s and 60s that hadn't yet kind of died out, but slowly were in sort of, as it were, decay during the 70s and 80s. And one of them was the soda fountain, or a lunch counter that also had essentially ice cream and milkshakes and a soda, in the sense of you could get soda water and then various flavors and whatnot put into it, or mix various flavors into Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola, stuff like that. So cherry Coke, vanilla Coke, and these would be from a pull pump, a seltzer dispenser, as it were, a soda water dispenser, and then you'd have the actual, syrups, the Coke syrup, the cherry Coke syrup. Anyways, the point being is these soda fountains were often found in places like pharmacies, but not probably the pharmacy you think of today. The pharmacies were more like similar to a 7-Eleven, but so they had the pharmacy in the back. They had some convenience items in front, and sometimes they had a little lunch counter, or like I said, an ice cream counter. Or you had the classic Five and Dimes. And Five and Dime was a store where you could get kind of anything. It was a general store, smaller in footprint than like what Walmart and Target have today, much smaller in footprint, but a variety of items similar to kind of like a small department store in that sense. And it could be a wide variety of items. If you think of when I was growing up, there were still Woolworths around. Woolworths Five and Dime, which was one of the classic Five and Dime store places that started in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and went all the way up to the late 90s before they finally closed up all their businesses, all their stores. But Woolworths again was a general store, had all kinds of stuff. Sometimes they had a little pet store department where you could buy goldfish and hamsters and whatnot for your home, and they had children's clothing, or assortment of a small clothing section. They had general store, department store, hardware store, wide variety of items. So smaller than a department store, smaller than a Walmart and Target, but similar in scope in terms of a variety of things that you would get there for the home. It was supposed to be kind of a one-stop shopping if you weren't going to a department store or a specialty store. It was like, again, an amped up 7-Eleven, an amped up convenience store, or a small down Walmart, small down Target. But that's what a dime store was. It was, it was our version of the Walmarts, but small. In any event, places like these dime stores, pharmacies, they had a soda fountain in it, a lunch counter, sometimes a full lunch counter where you could order sandwiches, etc., small meals. But most of them were, ice cream and treats and stuff like that. And so mom would bring you to the Woolworths, the general store. She would go shop. And she'd be like, okay, you wait here. And, we'll get you a milkshake or something like that. But some of the things that they served were, as an example, Pepsi Milk, egg creams, milkshakes, root beer floats, the typical things. Um, so for those of you who live in the Midwest or from the Midwest, you might remember Pepsi Milks, which were also popularized by the late Penny Marshall in the 70s through her character Laverne on Laverne and Shirley. And an egg cream, well, I'll get to egg cream in just a minute. So let's start out with Pepsi Milk, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's Pepsi and milk, and you're thinking that doesn't sound that great. But actually, it's not a bad concoction. It's the idea is that it's kind of like a inexpensive float. You don't have ice cream, you just have milk, and then you have Pepsi or Coca-Cola, depending upon your preference. For me personally, I think Pepsi works a little better only because Pepsi has a slightly sweeter flavor than Coca-Cola, so I think it works better in this combination. But some people also add a little like teaspoon of sugar in with the milk before they add Pepsi or Coca-Cola, which gives it a even sweeter. I don't necessarily do that. So let's just start out. So oh, and one of the things about Pepsi Milk, what makes it sort of appealing to people is it has a sort of a float-like consistency because as the milk and the soda combine, there's a sort of a curdling action that happens. There's a foaming up, just like you see in a float an ice cream float, where the soda interacts with the fatty acids or whatever it is in the milk that causes that sort of those that bubbling up, that really creamy sort of you know I can't even think of it. Like a root beer head, a head of the thing. So I have myself my little Guinness glass, actually two glasses because I'm doing two concoctions. One of my Freemason Abbey, which if you're ever in Norfolk, Virginia, when restaurants are back swinging again, hopefully soon, knock on wood. Freemason Abbey is a great place in Norfolk, Virginia, downtown Norfolk, Virginia. Wonderful food, really great place. So I'm going to start out with Pepsi Milk. And the thing with Pepsi Milk, reaching in my little portable cooling station I've set up over here. The thing about Pepsi Milk is it's better with a whole milk because you need more of that sort of milk fat to sort of get that nice, cream consistency. It can work with a lower fat milk, but honestly, if you want it to work, you need like a nice whole milk. Anyway, so you take your glass halfway up with your whole milk. Put that down for a second. And then here we go with the freshly opened Pepsi or Coca-Cola, as I said. And then now we'll see if we can get some of the effect on camera. So we pour it in. Now this one didn't foam up quite as much as I thought it would, but you do get that nice little foamy head, like a float or milkshake, and well, here's to you. So it's not bad. It's got a nice creamy consistency. And it does basically taste a lot like, if you've had your float and the ice cream is kind of mostly melted at some point, and now you're just got mostly the soda and a little bit of that foamy stuff. It has that same consistency and that sort of vanilla-y flavor. Something with the interaction between the Pepsi, the cola flavor and the milk flavor kind of gives it that little hint of a vanilla. And actually you could, if you wanted to make it more like that sort of milkshake flavor, add a touch of vanilla extract, just a very small amount, because vanilla extract is a very powerful vanilla flavor, but just a touch, just tiny drop into your milk to give it a little bit more vanilla flavor. And then you have what's essentially the poor man's milkshake. So not bad. I know a lot of people try this and they're like, ugh, but honestly, if you're have really cold milk, cold Pepsi, don't do it room temperature. That's I see people talk about that all the time. Oh, my Coca-Cola or my Pepsi was kind of room temperature. What? Why would you do that? But anyways, let's go talk about the egg cream real quick before I fill myself up. The egg cream is another interesting concoction, but it, unlike its weird name, it doesn't have egg, it doesn't have cream. An egg cream is basically a milk chocolate soda, a chocolate milk soda, or something, I guess you would say. So you take chocolate milk and you mix soda water into it, seltzer, basically. You could use club soda, but club soda has some minerals in it that alters the flavor a little bit. So I think straight seltzer water is best because it's just carbonated water. It doesn't have any other minerals, any other sort of off flavors that might, pardon me, interact with the milk flavor. So you take something, your Guinness glass or whatever, and you add your milk, of course, bottom. One of the key things about doing the egg cream is that you're going to add chocolate syrup or other chocolate ingredients to it, but you want to over chocolate the chocolate milk portion. You want to really like make it so chocolatey that you're like, oh, this is almost a little gross. Because as you add soda water to it, you're going to thin out that flavor a lot. It's going to turn very, much more watery, obviously, because you're literally adding soda water. So when you make the chocolate milk portion, you want to over chocolate it. So I've got some Nesquik syrup. You could use Hershey syrup, but this is just what we happen to have for the kids. And the other thing I like to do is also use a granulated chocolate. And the reason I like to do this is my own little, I mean, I'm sure other people have done it, but this is my only variation, is that when you use a granulated chocolate like Quick, or I've got Carnation Breakfast Essentials, which is a nice little, or, Ovaltine. Oh, by the way, if you use Ovaltine, get the rich chocolate Ovaltine, not the malted, because the malt is less chocolatey and more malty, which is good. I like the malted milk flavor, but for this particular experiment, you need something specifically chocolatey. Anyways, getting back to it, what you have to do is you have to really, really make this thing chocolatey. So you throw a whole lot of syrup in there. That actually even may be too much, but a whole lot of syrup in there. Mix it nice and up so it's super, super, super dark. And the other getting back to the powder sort of version, is the reason I like to add a little bit of powdered chocolate too, is when the soda water hits the mixture and there's the suspended particles of powder in the chocolate milk, that carbonation grabs onto those little particles of powder. Somebody who's a chemist in the comments or who knows chemistry, I don't remember the name off of the top, but it's basically like precipitation. The carbonation grabs onto those little particles of sugar floating in the milk, and so it makes that carbonation pop out even more, so it gives it a nice sort of extra creamy consistency when they mix. Which is kind of the other reason I grabbed my Guinness glass, because it's funny, if you've ever had a black and tan and you watch the Guinness and or a traditional Guinness pour where you get that really foamy head that sort of cascades along up the side of the glass with the little bubbles. You get basically a very similar effect here. This is looking dark, but I actually think I may need to even do a little more. It's a bit of an experiment. I haven't measured exactly how this works, but you just need to be super chocolatey. Let me taste that. Oh yeah, that's pretty. It's almost a little, but actually, you know what? I'll give it a touch more. What the hell? We're going crazy. This thing is going to be super chocolate. Yeah, look how dark that is. All right, mix it up. Grab some seltzer water. We usually have a soda stream, which I like because I can really really pump the level of carbonation into that bad boy. We like to super carbonate our soda water, but we happen to be out of SodaStream canisters right now. So, standard, supermarket seltzer water. Don't get flavored seltzer, obviously. Nothing with lime or lemon or whatever, something like that. Unflavored, carbonated water, just carbonated water, nothing else. It's the best. All right, so let's do this experiment. Let's see if I can get it without destroying the computer. Pour. Oop. See, I already screwed up. Almost spilled on the computer. Pour it out. Whoa. Yeah, see, it foams up. Okay, not a good idea. Where are my napkins? Paper plate. So, if you look, well, you can't really see well on the camera, but there's a little bit of a cascading effect with the soda and the milk as they sort of mix together. You can give it a little bit of a stir too. And then it does give you, oh, look at this. You can see really nice creamy head that you get on it. Yeah, no, that's stick it. So, to give you an idea, again, egg cream, why it's called egg cream, actually nobody really knows. There's a couple of, not urban legends, but a couple of historical notes that people still aren't sure about. The one I like best is that it was actually somebody who had tried a similar drink in Paris, and they were saying chocolat et crème, chocolate with cream or something like that, with their soda water, and maybe that stuck, that chocolat et crème, because that pronunciation in the French, et crème, sounds like egg cream, and because Americans can't speak a foreign language to save their lives, we just co-opted the word and made it different, called it egg cream. That's, pardon me, sorry. Carbonated water. That's the story I like best, just because it's kind of fun. There are a couple other stories about how it got its name. But, be that as it may, it's a very creamy chocolate drink. If you were almost think of it's like chocolate milk, but sudsy, like if you could put chocolate milk in a soda, and I think people have tried, but it doesn't taste like this. The whole idea is you need to get that interaction of the milk and the soda pouring together and creating that foam. That's what really gives it that really nice creamy flavor. Same with the Pepsi Milk. I think people have tried to bottle this or can this experience. Just doesn't work, because you really do need the effect of that carbonation doing the sort of curdling the milk, taking those little, bonding with those pieces of milk fat that are in the milk, and then creating that really creamy head. So, egg cream or Pepsi Milk? I've had a lot to drink. I think the edge, may go to the egg cream. As funny as that name is, I'm a chocolate milk fan, so. But if you're looking for something that tastes a little bit like a float, you don't happen to have ice cream around, but you have some milk and some soda, some Coca-Cola, some Pepsi Cola, it's a nice little sort of dessert drink in a pinch. The cheap man's milkshake, or cheap man's float. I believe it also tastes quite good with root beer. And again, you'd have to play around with which brand you want. A&W already has that sort of very creamy flavor, so that might work well. Or if you want the Barks, which has that, it's more of a not ginger snap, but you know what I mean. Has a little bit more of a snap bite of that root beer flavor. Whereas A&W is a little creamier, a little bit smoother flavor. So there you go. Egg cream versus Pepsi Milk. For me, I think egg cream. Even though it's just chocolate milk soda. So, I hope this has been interesting, or at least mildly entertaining. I've been Marty Walzer, also known as Raging Owlbear. Please click like and subscribe just for the heck of it. I don't put these videos out very often, so it's not like you know you're going to get bothered by notifications. But click on the bell, because when I do put out a video, maybe you want to watch it. Who knows? I usually talk about tabletop role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, and everything you see behind me. At least more recently, I've been talking a lot about a lot of different tabletop RPGs. So, you know, I hope you give my channel a view. And, you know, the like and subscribe helps get me a little more visibility too. Just, you know, for funsies. Because, hey, we all need a little leg up every once in a while. Have a good night or good day, whatever time of day it is. Keep yourself safe. It's just, we got to get through 2020. It's a little insane out there. And, you know, Black lives do matter. That's my one political statement for the day. Be safe. Be very safe. And have a good day.